Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the How to Get Better at Any Mechanic class. I'm really excited to hop into this, so let's just get it going. Okay, getting better at mechanics. Everyone in Rocket League wants better mechanics. That's how it is. You are able to get better with every mechanic that you learn. But how? In this class, we're going to talk about how you can learn and get better at any mechanic in the game of Rocket League. Getting better at mechanics is a process, but if you can streamline how you practice them, you will see improvement quickly. So we're going to do 3 sections for this PowerPoint. We're going to talk about learning mechanics. We're going to talk about getting better at a mechanic, and then an example from yours truly. So let's get into it. Okay, first off, learning a mechanic. Rocket League is so different from most other video games because of the amount of mechanics you have to learn. In Valorant, you have aiming. In League of Legends, you have ability timings, combos, etc. In Rocket League, it's a sandbox in terms of what you're able to do mechanically. These are just a few examples of mechanics, but we have movement, aerials, dribbling, shooting, and that's only covering a little bit of what Rocket League has to offer. It's a lot. And so that is why to get better at Rocket League, you need to learn more mechanics over time. When you decide to learn a mechanic, it will be a journey. You will not learn a mechanic overnight. I left this part blank because I want to talk about the idea of the time and skill sort of journey. Most people, when learning something, start here at the 0, 0 mark. And the more time you put into things, the more skill you will get. And this can be rank, this could be learning how to do things, whatever it takes. But it is not going to be this line. You are not going to see improvement in this line. Improvement, especially when it comes to learning Rocket League and learning mechanics, looks sort of like this, where, as you can see, the start and the end are both improving, but the way you get there is a lot different. You might have things like plateaus here, you might have a dip, you might have a slump. All of these things happen. What I'm trying to get across to you is you can take my class and apply it to every mechanic in the game. That doesn't mean you're going to learn how to air dribble in 3 days. When you see my example, I will show you how long it really takes to learn mechanics and to quote unquote master these mechanics. And this is not a set graph. This is not a I will do everything on this graph the exact same way. You will learn different things, and these arrows will be different over time. But in the end, it's just how it works. The more time you put into something, the more you will improve at it. That's how it works. And then I have a little point here. What is mastering a mechanic? We'll get into that later, but the idea of it is when you put in time, and it's very important that when you meaningfully put in time to mechanics, that's when you'll see that improvement. Any questions on this slide?
Nope.
Cool. Let's keep it going. So, you might ask me, what mechanics do I need to learn? When deciding what mechanics you need to learn, you want to look at people in your rank and see what they're doing. The reason I say this is don't think about doing mechanics that are too out of your skill expectations. For example, don't try to air dribble if you can't even dribble on the ground. A lot of people these days are trying to learn the flashy mechanics that, while they're fun to learn, they're very impractical if you don't have a sort of base level of mechanics to go off of. Uh, what it really matters is learning things that will actually help you improve. If you just want to have fun, then by all means, go for flip resets. I'm not going to stop you. But if you want to improve on different mechanics through time, I think that there is sort of a base level of things that you should get down and then improve upon with other sorts of mechanics. So, today I have created for you my mechanic hierarchy. Uh, this is, again, a very basic framework, so please do not take this as the Bible, but this is a way that I think if I was going to start someone off in the game of Rocket League, how I would want them to do things. So, we'll start with the first level. Ground movement. Can they move around the field? It's that simple. Can you move forward? Can you move backwards? Do you know how to move around the field? Second thing, do you know how to boost? And then third thing, now, even pros are still trying to learn how to do this today, but hitting the ball consistently. Being able to hit the ball is really important. Not even flipping, not even jumping, just hitting the ball consistently. And then once you can get these three, we move on to the second level, which is hitting the ball hard and in the right direction and beginning to learn how to aerial. Once you can hit the ball consistently, once you learn how to flip into the ball and figure out which direction you should be hitting the ball, that's when things start to open up in terms of learning more mechanics and learning more recoveries. Aerials, pretty simple. Same as hitting the ball in the right direction. It opens up the game. Rocket League's such a cool game because of the aerial capabilities. Once you are able to grasp hitting the ball hard and in the right direction and aerials, move on to the third level. Shooting. I've done a class on this. Not to plug, but if you'd like to watch that, you can go on our channel there and watch the shooting masterclass. Dribbling and flicks. These are all different skills in the third level that you learn to help with your offense and help you in scoring. So once you're able to consistently learn this third level, then you can move to the fourth level. And that's expanding on the third level. So that's once you can dribble, maybe you want to try going for an air dribble. And once you can air dribble the ball, maybe you want to start going for double taps. And then once you can air dribble the ball, maybe you go for a flip reset. As you can see, all of these mechanics sort of build onto each other. And in your time in Rocket League, this is how you expand your idea. And if you're able to master double taps and flip resets, there is a fifth level. This is what I like to call just like pro level, which involves double flip resets. It involves ceiling flip resets. It involves zap dashes, things like that. This, again, is not a complete framework for the entirety of mechanics in Rocket League, but it gives you a good idea of all of these things are building on each other. So once you learn one mechanic, it helps you out with other mechanics, and you want to work on building that framework. Does this all make sense?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, now let's talk about how to learn a mechanic. When learning a mechanic, you want to go to YouTube and find a video tutorial showing you how to do it. Here are some YouTubers you can look up. Sunless Khan, Waitin Pilkin, Thanovich, or yours truly. And I have an not Spook Luke. Do not use a Spook Luke tutorial. He spreads a lot of misinformation when it comes to Rocket League. Allegedly. I can't say that for sure, but I don't like his videos. Yes, I am recommending that you watch a YouTube video. Does that seem lazy? No, because everyone learns in their own distinct way. And for someone to learn how to dribble, they can either do a coaching session with me for an hour, or they can put in maybe 20 to 30 minutes of work of looking at different YouTube videos explaining how to dribble. I think Rocket League is such a great community because we have YouTubers and content creators that create a lot of educational content. Not just me. I recommend watching all the YouTube videos in the world. That's how I got better at the game, and we'll talk about it. It's how NBA players learn how to do things. Joel Embiid looked up white kids shooting basketball because he wanted to learn how to get a good jump shot. These
Yeah.
are real life examples of people who are using the tools they have at their disposal, which are free, to help them learn different mechanics. Now, they will tell you how to do the mechanic in the video, but I want to sort of bring it back to how I want you guys to learn the mechanic from my perspective. So in the video, if it's a good tutorial, they will describe the sequence of buttons or sequence of keys, if you're on mouse and keyboard, to do what you want to do. And what I like to do is it's a slow process. Number one, break it down. Go one button or key at a time. Once you've figured out one piece, add another. And then you're going to keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that until you have the final mechanic completed in its pieces. And then you're going to add it together and do it very slowly. And then once you can do it slowly all together, you're going to try and speed the process up. This works for every mechanic in the game. A mechanic, at its most basic sense, is all this. It's just a sequence of buttons. You are hitting buttons or keys on your controller or keyboard in a certain way. And what you can do to make it applicable to every single mechanic is to break it down, go piece by piece, and then add it together and slow it down until you can fully get it, and then speed it up to the mechanic that it actually is. Here's my example. I have half flipping. Find a video or ask a coach. If you have a question, please comment on this video. Like, how do I do this mechanic? I am always here to help you guys out. And in this video, for example, I use Stanovich's video. You break down the mechanic. He tells you to backflip, and then he tells you to cancel that backflip by moving your stick forward. And then you want to arrow roll to turn your car around, and then you want to land turned around. So you're going to start with the backflip. You're going to cancel that backflip by moving your stick forward. You're going to arrow roll to turn your car around, and then you're going to land with your car completely turned around. You're going to break it up into pieces. You are then going to add it all together, and then once you have figured out the sequence of buttons and you've added it all together slowly, then work on all of these things together, which is canceling your backflip and air rolling at the end. Do you guys understand the process of what I'm trying to get at with learning a mechanic?
Yep.
Awesome. Let's keep it going. Now we're going to talk about getting better at a mechanic. Here's a pretty fun slide. Again, Coach Sky giving you the real secrets. It's a lot of practice. That's what it is. Seriously, though, we got to start in out of game situations. The first thing you're going to do to get better at a mechanic after you've learned it is using free play and custom training. As I've said here, free play and custom training are the best tools to learn how to do a mechanic because it allows you to do a mechanic in different situations with no defenders around. I use a lot of basketball examples. That's just how I think. Imagine it like you're in an open gym if you're going to play basketball. If you wanted to learn how to shoot, you would go to a gym and shoot. If you wanted to learn, maybe you want to learn in soccer how to do a rainbow flick, you just go in your backyard, you put the soccer ball down, and you learn it. When we're in Rocket League, using free play and using custom training gives you those scenarios over and over and over again, and it doesn't add the stress of an actual defender to be in the game. So you might be asking, when do I use free play and when do I use custom training? What I like to say is if the mechanic doesn't involve hitting the ball, so for example, half flipping or wave dashing, use free play and just go around the map doing that one mechanic over and over and over again. Remember, sequence the buttons out and then add them all together. If it involves hitting the ball, then use custom training. Could be dribbling, double taps, or air dribbles. All of these mechanics, you can find custom training packs for it. I will link in the description a website you guys can use to get these training packs. Literally search up, like if you want to air dribble, just search on that website, air dribble, and it will give you training packs that allow you to practice these mechanics. The important thing that I have to say is this is not a one size fits all in terms of free play and custom training. For some mechanics, you can use both. This is just a rule of thumb, especially once you've gotten the hang of, let's say, air dribbling. Practicing it in free play allows you to do it in more different situations than just having the ball roll up the wall all the same time. It's a combination of both, but you always need to be practicing in situations where you're not just playing against a defender and trying to score. All right, let's keep it going. So now we're going to talk about using that mechanic in game. First things first, actually use the mechanic you're learning. If you want to learn flip resets and you never hit a flip reset in game, but you're like, I know I can do it, then what are we doing? Right? Why are we trying to learn flip resets? It's so that you can have something else in your arsenal that allows you to actually improve in the game that you're trying to get better at. The best practice is experience, and the best experience is in game in front of defenders. You will not learn a mechanic by only using free play or custom training. Here I have a note. For the first 2 levels of my hierarchy, play the game in any normal mode long enough and you will learn. Please don't learn how to air dribble in Rumble. That will suck. Please use normal modes. Now, once we talk about higher level mechanics, my favorite way to practice a higher level mechanic is casual 1v1. I'm just using an example here. One of you guys is learning how to use air roll left. When I tried to learn how to use air roll left, I would play a lot of casual 1v1s because I knew that I wasn't A, throwing a game for my teammate, and B, these games don't matter as much because it's casual. So I was able to do whatever I want in terms of learning that mechanic. It gives you a low stress situation, but there's actually a defender there. So if you're learning these higher level mechanics like the flip resets, like the double taps, going into casual 1v1 games are a good way to learn a mechanic in a real game situation with the lower level of stress. Excuse me, sorry. However, you can't just learn the mechanics in 1v1. You guys need to be able to bring these mechanics out in 2v2 and 3v3 and even just 1v1 ranked scenarios. You will not learn if you never try. Remember that. You will not learn if you never try. Now, excuse me, just having some water. We're going to talk about recognizing progress. Once you use the mechanic that you are using more and more often, you will notice that you are getting more consistent at it. If you were going to ask me how to know you're getting better, it is the less you think about it, the better you are at it. I guarantee you, if you asked a pro how to flip reset, they could tell you just put your car under the ball, but they could not mechanically give you the things that you need to do to get a flip reset. You will always improve in a mechanic if you do it for more time. So it is on you to practice it as much as you can. Here's how you tweak your mechanics to get them to feel better. If you notice something consistently going wrong, in the example I have is I can't get under the ball enough while air dribbling, you want to try and adjust your controls to make the mechanic easier. If you notice you're always under the ball air dribbling, that means that you need to get your car to be higher up on the ball so that you don't drive under the ball while air dribbling. All of your mechanics you learn will eventually come down to something going wrong and you needing to figure out, how can I fix this? If you're double tapping, maybe you're always missing a read because the ball is always going higher than you think it is. Well, in that case, then you need to start adjusting by being like, okay, I need to read the ball higher. Or if you're flip resetting and you're like, man, I'm not actually getting the flip, look at the flip in the goal replay and see, are you getting all four wheels under your car? Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. Okay. And finally, with this, I want you guys to realize something. Most people are coming to this video or are here because they want to learn how to get better at a mechanic. If you look at yourself when you first started learning this mechanic and look at yourself now, recognize that progress. Feel good about how much progress you've made. It will give you a boost in terms of wanting to practice your mechanic more and more because most people don't recognize how far they've come with a mechanic. If you're a plat or diamond rank player and you say, man, I suck, guess what? You are better than a lot of other people at Rocket League. That's how it works. The rank system is how it is because of the idea of ranks in general. What you guys want to do is always focus on recognizing that progress. And my favorite thing to do is clip a mechanic when you've first done it and then come back months later to realize how far you've come. I have a lot of clips of myself 5 years ago and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I thought that was a good shot. But guess what? At the time, that was the happiest I'd ever been in the game. So you want to be able to recognize progress when you're learning a mechanic. Okay, when to know you've mastered a mechanic. So this is the idea of mastering a mechanic and how you know that. First, when you can do a mechanic consistently, and I believe that's about 90% of the time. Oh, I think I got a chat in chat really quickly. Let me make sure I read this. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the chat here. Let me see what this says. How would one tweak their controls and or settings to make, for instance, air dribbling easier? Yeah, that's a good question. Let me go back to it. Tweaking controls means turning your car in different ways and or changing how you boost or changing how early you jump for things. I think the issue with a lot of people in their air dribbles is that if they go under the ball, it's because they are jumping too late. Or when they're boosting, their nose is tilted too far forward. What we're trying to do when we tweak mechanics is when you look at how your car is moving, again, it's just a sequence of buttons. You want to make sure that on an air dribble, you tilt your stick up. Like for example, you're too far under the ball, tilting your stick up before you start boosting at the ball will make your trajectory higher and you will hit the ball at a higher point. So that's what I mean by tweaking your controls, by looking at how you're moving and changing your movement. Does that make sense? Awesome. Great question, by the way. I should explain that more. Thank you. Okay. In pressure situations, when you can hit this mechanic 90% of the time, you have mastered the mechanic. And most people won't master mechanic until they've put hundreds of hours into the single thing that they do. It takes a long time to master mechanic. That's just how it is. So when we are putting time in and when we are tweaking different things, it's a nonstop process where we are really focusing on this mechanic. I'm doing this in this way. Oh, it's not working. I should tweak it and try doing something else. Maybe on a flip reset, instead of flipping forward, maybe I'm going to do a diagonal flip once I get a flip to have the ball travel farther. Even pros haven't mastered every mechanic in the game. If there was a pro that was perfect, they would win every game in the world, and that has not happened. Even Zen loses tournaments. And when you are getting better with the mechanic, always think about the progress you can make with it and not where you just are at the present moment. As I said, recognizing progress. Here's something I want to mention as well. This is a very important bullet point. I skipped over it, but I want to be very meaningful with this. Watch other people do the mechanics in game. When I talked about YouTube to help learning a mechanic, you can also use YouTube to watch other people do it. I think the best example are air dribbles. When you watch pros air dribble, you will see the ball glued to their car. But when you break down their movement, again, into that sequence of buttons, look at where they're hitting the ball. Look at how high up the wall they're going to hit the ball. If they're starting the air dribble from the ground, how do they hit the ball with their car? All of these things allow you to get a better sense of how these mechanics work, and you can add it into your own game. It's really just all about that active thought. Okay, and then finally for this slide, be confident. Imagine yourself hitting the mechanic and you will do it more often. This kind of goes back to just doing the mechanics that you're working on, but most people are too scared to go for a mechanic because they don't think they'll do it. Guess what? That's going to happen a lot. And so you just got to get over yourself now. And in the long run, you will be much better in terms of the mechanic that you're trying to learn if you go for it more often. Any questions? Okay, let's keep it going. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm sorry. An example. Oh boy, this is my favorite part. This is an example from yours truly. This is a quote, real life example of how I learned how to flip reset. I went on YouTube in the good old year of 2020 and I searched how to flip reset. It might have been 2019 because this is 5 years ago. And I found this video by Johnny Boy. This was the first result that popped up. If you guys are looking now, I think it's different, but I'm going to link this video in this description because this has changed how I view flip resets, and it's a very good video. It's a long video, but in the beginning, he gives you a training pack, and he talks about how you can get a flip reset. And as you can see here, this is just a screenshot from the flip reset pack, but all you do is you pop the ball up in the air, and you go for a flip reset on it. That's what he wanted you to do. So I broke the mechanic down. What is a flip reset? Well, a flip reset is when you get under the ball with the center of your car so that all four wheels touch the ball. So I figured out what a flip reset is. Next, I asked myself, what can I do with my controller to touch the ball like that? So first, I have to aerial. That's the first big thing. So aerialing, number one. Number two, I want to roll my car under the ball. So that's number two here. And then three, it's boosting so that I can hit it in the right spot. So I'm breaking down. How do I get a flip reset? How do I get a flip reset? How do I touch? How do I do that with the mechanics that are in the game? And I am not joking. For an hour straight, I just tried to get my car in the right spot and get a flip reset. And it took a solid 30 minutes for me to get my first flip reset, and I think a solid hour for me to get 3 flip resets in a row. And to make sure I did it right, I would flip, and if my car flipped again, I got it. I would do this about an hour a day for 2 weeks straight, just practicing getting a flip reset. And this is only on the first shot. As you can see here, I have only done the first 2 shots in this pack because I just practiced the first part of getting a flip reset. Okay. After I could confidently get a flip on the ball, I went into a wall to air dribble pack. So I started adding these mechanics onto each other, like I talked about in our hierarchy. And I would air dribble the ball, and at the end, I would practice getting a flip reset and popping the ball into the net. At first, I was just trying to do two things: air dribble and then get a flip reset. And that took about a week. A week of like a solid hour of training every single day. And then after I got the flip reset, I practiced hitting the ball towards the net with that flip reset. And that took, however many weeks. And I would do this as part of my warm up every single day and would try to go for it in game. And this took a month, a solid month before I was able to get in a situation to hit a flip reset. So this is what I'm doing to get better at the mechanic. I'm breaking it down and I'm bringing it all together. As you can see, with a half flip, it's really easy because you're just hitting buttons. But with a flip reset, you're adding different mechanics together to get the final product. And then I don't have my flip reset recording anymore. It was on my old computer, and when I upgraded it, I lost. And after that month, when I hit my first flip reset, I ran around my room screaming for a solid 3 minutes. Um, that was one of my best days of Rocket League ever, and I would just keep going for them. And now this is me, 4 years later, being able to do different things.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah, that's what practice does. And yes, that was a clip from about a month ago. And if I'm remembering correctly, it's been about 5 years since I did my first slip reset, and that's where I'm at now. All it takes is time and dedication, and you will get there. Guys, if you take one thing away from this video or this class, all you got to do is dedicate time to it. There are always resources out there for you to learn how to do these mechanics. And all it is, remember, break it down and then put it back together. If you put it in parts, it makes it easier for your brain to comprehend. And in the end, you can learn any mechanic if you put your mind to it. All right. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Any questions before we head out here?
Guess not.
All right.
Good.
Thank you guys.